It probably wasn't so much that I was driven somewhere else as opposed to just it's time to move on, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. I feel the same thing. The guy who, I was locked up, starved, and tortured for a year, and the guy who did that was into all the conspiracy theories. So I tapped in all his memory banks and stuff. So I have a lot of access to the star people and all of that through him, and some really freaky kind of things. So I backed off of that as well because it was really intense.
Yeah, exactly. So you were tied up. You were that was you said?
I was kept on a property for a year.
Wow, really?
Starved almost to death. I came back to society thinking I was a retarded boy.
Wow, really?
He thought the Illuminati. Well, I don't want to really. I'll sound nuts, but he was all into conspiracy theories, and he thought the Illuminati were helping with it, and some of the weird, freaky things that happened on the property, it kind of like felt like, it was questionable because this huge snake showed up in our house. I mean, this huge snake, and then it just disappeared, and I was like freaking out. And then it went up into my little bedroom, into the bathroom, and it was just curled up on my vanity in the bathroom, and then he was like non-reactive to me. But that's when things kind of shifted, and it was kind of like it was boring there until that happened, and then he thought I was overreacting until he went and saw the snake, and he saw how huge it was.
Wow. Saved by the snake?
Well, we should save all this for the show.
Can we talk about that on the show?
I don't even know if I want to go into all this part, but it's like kind of freaky and stuff. I'd leave it behind, but it is fascinating as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get going, and if we go there, we go there.
I shouldn't have mentioned it.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm sure it has I'm sure it's an important part of your story, right? Yeah. All right. Tonight we've got Jen Ward with us. She's a dynamic healer and executive coach and group facilitator, and she's got a new book out, SFT Lexicon, the SFT Lexicon, and some other books like Enlightenment Unveiled and Emerging from the Mist. She's the creator of the SFT tapping protocol, which is the spiritual freedom technique. So, welcome, Jen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever really got it. I mean, I've known people that have done the tapping, the spiritual freedom technique. And I don't know, Darren might be able to help me here, but I don't think we've ever really done a full episode on this kind of thing, on the tapping and the spiritual freedom technique. Because a lot of people really swear by it that it works.
Yeah.
I don't think we have. Maybe a partial episode.
Yeah, we might have touched
on a few times.
Yeah, it's probably come up a lot. There's a lot of different multidisciplinary healers and stuff we've had on. I mean, we've dug into a lot of the stuff that you talk about. We've dug into in separate types of episodes. I mean, a lot of it is about. It seems like it's about intention and manifestation as well.
Absolutely, and removing blockages to your own joy, love, abundance, freedom, success, health, empowerment, wholeness, all that.
Yeah.
So the thing is about the difference between the SFT and other types of tapping is, for one thing, I'm assisting with all the tapping that's happening out there. So when you guys are using the book, I'm actually here assisting in energy. So what I've done is through the last few years, maybe lifetimes, is I've stretched my capacity to feel what's happening to others because I'm really empathic. But like I work with spirit guides, and the adepts have told me if you can help one person, you can help 7 billion. So a lot of the work I do is to like stretch and see how much the human consciousness can actually assist humanity in uplifting. So that's a huge part of the intention of the books and putting that out there.
Wow. So I was going to ask you that question. I mean, what's the difference between tapping and your SFT protocol? Is there any other differences at all?
Well, yeah, my tapping is different than like there's other kinds of tapping, but the spiritual freedom technique is to like delve at issues not only on the physical level or the emotional level of consciousness, but also like the causal, all your past records and your future records, to release anything in there. Like, I see images, I see past lives, I see future lives. So you can actually change the trajectory of your future lives by releasing core issues that are showing up in your past lives. And they come into the physical body through pain. So I can, like, when I do a private session with someone, I don't want to know anything about them. I just tune into their Akashic records and their pain, and I can see what the core issues were way back when. We release those through tapping, and then they assist the present them to release them. And they prevent, because on the tappings we say in our moments. So it's actually helping the moment, the past, and the present. So you can actually change the trajectory of your whole life. Like, and it works on the mental levels as well. So say you have a woman who she's married to a dirtbag, right? And she does all this stuff to get away from the dirtbag. And what does she do? She attracts another dirtbag.
Yeah.
Well, that's a habit, and that's an engram from a past life and stuff. So we go into the core issue of why she's doing that, why she's attracting the dirtbags, and go to the core issue instead of trying to deal with, the dirtbag in the present, because that's not going deep enough for her psyche.
How much of this is past life related? Quite a bit of it? Like, does it end up coming up over and over again for people?
Well, actually, yeah, I do see their past lives. But if people don't believe in past lives, that's okay, because it's actually in their DNA. So if they don't believe in past lives, they can still benefit from sessions with me, because they can just understand that I'm tapped into the DNA and something they're projecting in their energy field.
But from your point of view, is a lot of it related to past lives? Like, it's a sort of a holistic thing, and that's always included.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Huh. So how does the physical tapping connect, or how does it work with what you're doing? Because if you're connecting to the Akashic records and people's like generational trauma or past lives, and you're pulling that, how does the physical tapping work? Is that just strictly releasing some physical thing, or how does that? No. I don't think I've ever really heard anybody explain how that works.
I know, and I don't have like a metaphysical background. It's just all self-taught, so I'll do the best I can with what I have. So the thing is, your mind is a 3D printer, and it's always manifesting what you put out there. But humans have been trained to put out negative stuffs. So even these like colloquialisms, oh, my heart is aching, oh, my back is killing me, those are actually things that you're training your brain. So if you start saying those things, just cleaning up your own verbiage is a huge level of releasing. And then deeper and stuff is like there's okay. So there was a woman that came to me when I just started like doing massage, right? And I learned to do massage, and I could move energy with my mind and do healings on people using modalities. And it wasn't faith healing. There was actually something I was doing, like pulling stagnant energy out of people and stuff, but I was learning it through my massage practice. So this woman came to me that she was like so sore she couldn't even move, and it's like she came for a massage, because that's all I thought I was doing. So she came to me for massage, and she laid on the table. She goes, "Don't touch me, I'm in too much pain." And I'm like, how am I supposed to freaking do this? So she's laying on her back and just looking at me, and I just blurted out, because I was like new at this. I go, "You were gang raped in a past lifetime." I said that to her, and her eyes got really big, and that awareness just freaked her out, because it wasn't a past lifetime. I saw it. It was when she was in high school. There were 3 teenagers. They cornered her in a men's bathroom, pushed her up against the sink, and like took her down and raped her, 3 of them. And then she just like put her pants up and just went home and never told anyone else about it. So after that, she realized that her dirty little secret was out there. I started crying, convulsing, crying, and I couldn't stop. And she's patting me on the back, saying, "It's okay, okay, it's okay." But she was comforting her own pain. I was releasing her pain that she wasn't comfortable doing. And I cried and cried. I mean, it wasn't pretty and stuff. And that was the whole hour. And so we didn't talk about it much. I go, "There were 3 of them, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." And that was it. And she just left for 3 months. When she came back, she said the pain was gone like 45% less. So the next time she came, same thing. I just touched her thigh or a part on her body where they would have like hurt her, and I'd start crying, or I'd go near her waist or her butt or whatever, wherever I went, and start crying. And that's how I released even more of it. And so that's how I learned the connection between the emotional pain and physical pain. So then they just delved into from emotional pain to past life pain and then to mental anguish. Just because I've been doing this so long now, it's just, I have the experience. Like, my life has been so dysfunctional and abuse. I've been the product of abuse all my life. So when anyone comes to me with an issue, I have the compassion or the understanding of what they're dealing with because I've experienced it. And that's the beauty of it. That's a similar vibration to what they're dealing with. So the more people who have like difficult lives, they're in a more of a position to be like, turn it around and be a healer using the SFT tapping if they need a modality. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So the tapping, is that related to, like, let's say that first example with that woman and you're touching her knee or touching somewhere, and is that similar to the way tapping would work then? Is it releases like energy through the physical or trapped blockages through the physical or something?
No, actually what it's doing is waking up so the reason why affirmations don't work is because the ego is going to tell you, I say I'm a size 3. The ego is going to say, "You're not a size 3. You were never a size 3. Look at all the times you failed, died, and you can't stop shoving food in your mouth," right? So that the ego is going to taunt you. So what you do is these taps, think of them as affirmations that you're bypassing the ego's permission and just programming the 3D printer yourself without like asking the ego's permission.
Okay, so tapping is a way to actually just bypass the ego with the affirmations then.
And, which is huge because you got to figure out that the ego is trying to keep you from being more aware. The ego's job is to keep you entrenched in have you ever read Eckhart Tolle, The Pain Body?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like the ego wants you to stay in drama and issues and stuff, but your higher self wants to get you free. So when I do private sessions with people, I'm connecting to their higher self, and I'm talking to their higher self and ignoring the ego.
Right.
So it's really an interesting, fascinating thing because they'll be saying something on the surface, and it's not at all what's going on with them in energy. So there's a dichotomy going on with them, and I have to ignore what they're saying, kind of handle them on the surface, and deal with what's actually going on. And bring them on the same page. And so when you tap on the head, you're bypassing the ego. And when you tap on your chest, you're setting it in the body. Like you would set a watch, you would turn the thing and then like set it and then secure it into the body. And then when you tap on your abdomen, that's actually preventing the issues from scurrying into and hiding into a part of your body like the intestines or the female anatomy and such.
Okay, so the tapping is in different places then?
Yes,
so let's do an example.
week.
Let's do an example then, like say for the abdomen or your stomach.
Well, they all go together. I make noise, so when I make noises, they're uncomfortable to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to think of something to tap that's relevant to you. Because are you sensitive to energy?
I wish.
Okay.
He cries from drums, so he's got to be sensitive to something.
I'm sensitive, not to energy.
You cry to drums?
Not me.
I have. Not all the time.
No, I got to know this. How does that work?
It must be the music or the vibration or like the.
Okay, it's good. So I have a tap for you that might be relevant to you.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
So you're going to say it 3 times with tapping on your head,
Okay.
a 4th time with tapping on your chest,
Okay. In my
and
heart.
then a
Yeah.
5th time.
With the same
your
hand.
chest.
With the same hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it looks kind of funny when you tap on your abdomen because it looks like something else sometimes.
Okay.
But it's just, you're just tapping on the abdomen.
Okay.
Yeah, see, it looks funny. And I'm going to make my noise, so I'm going to actually do this.
Okay.
For you. Darren, you can do it too.
I should make the noise or I should tap?
No, you can make your noises all you want on your own time. No. I mean, you can want to
Keep your
make
noises to yourself.
Well, here's the thing. I forgot what I was going to say. Darren threw me off.
I'm sorry.
So this is relevant to you, okay? Oh, here's the thing I was going to say. I don't use the word I anymore because the I is like telling the ego, and the I is like, think of the using the word I is like your Siri for your computer, and every time you ask the Siri the question, it's gonna like do this thing, and my Siri freaks out because it's like I'll come out and the Siri's like spinning and stuff and turning on for no reason, so it freaks me out. So we use the word we to bypass the ego even more.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
We as in all yourselves in a way.
Yes, or your spirit guides, or for the humanity,
Right. Okay.
or you, me, and Darren.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Okay. Good.
Darren's into this. Okay, so here's a tip I want you guys to do.
Okay.
And it's relevant to you, just so you know.
Okay.
We release being separated from our tribe in our moments.
We release being separated from our tribe in our moments.
Nope, you're going too fast. We release being separated from our tribe, then you pause in our moments.
We release being separated from our tribe in our moments.
In all moments.
In our moments.
In all moments.
In all moments.
In all moments.
Come on, Darren. Keep them honest.
We release being separated from our tribe in all moments.
Pause. In all moments.
We release being separated from our tribe in all moments. We release being separated from our tribe in all moments.
Now do your abdomen now too.
Oh yeah.
We release being separated from our tribe in all moments.
So I'll go from there, and then I'll find other taps as I do that with there, and I'll get other taps that I don't know your life or whatever, but I just. So do you want to do another one that came up or?
That gave me quite a bit of gas right there. I don't know. Is that a release?
Okay, so it's okay if you fart. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I think I should get a vote.
You got to sacrifice for the team there.
I think that's a good example. I mean, okay. I was using that example to help somebody else with some stuff. So.
And I'm literally separated from my tribe.
Well, we all are. Okay, so maybe I'm tapping into that other self, other person. So you want to do that other tap for that other person?
Sure.
All right. I mean, I'm tapping.
No. I'd rather not actually. I'd rather not get into the distant stuff right now. I wanted to do that as an example to see.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You're the boss.
I don't feel comfortable doing it for the other person now. So that's interesting because it reminds me of animals who shake after they release fear. I heard one of our guests talking about that, and like if they have an encounter with a lion or something, let's say, you know, the gazelle or something might do this shiver or shake to sort of reset things or to release that flight or fight.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like it's kind of a similar thing in a way.
Yeah, and actually what it can do is knock a human, or it's good on pets, by the way. So it can knock people or animals out of primal mode. Because a lot of think of it like a lot of what's happening with humans to keep them in, keep them controlled in a way in a group, like a herd mentality, is fear. So a lot of things that are introduced to them as fear, so it keeps them in fear, which like keeps them in primal mode. And when you're in primal mode, you got two choices, fight or flight, right? So you don't have the, you actually literally disconnect from your ability to discern. So that's like, so it's really important to like disconnect them from primal mode so they can actually think for themselves, like, what do you really think here, instead of reactionary and knee-jerk reactions, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So, but I mean, I do think affirmations work though. So, I mean, because you do mention like I guess there's a lot of negative feedback for affirmations that people have, but I feel like they would be a positive thing if people do them properly.
Yeah,
I feel like
so
here's
the thing.
Yeah.
That's great that they work for you, and they don't work for me. And I don't, so I'm missing something in my makeup that allows me to have confidence in myself for them, you know? So that's great they work for you, and affirmations are great, but the SFT tapping can work for 100% people probably if they try it.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's a supercharge, like a way to supercharge your affirmations.
Absolutely. It can't hurt to do it with the affirmations.
And so your book, just to stay on this path before we switch gears a little bit, your book, this 500 pages, you've addressed all these different problems with people are having, right? Everything from A to Z, all the different problems. And you have all these affirmations and tapping instructions for everything, right? This is like the Bible of tapping in a way, right?
Absolutely. It's a Bible for self-empowerment, actually, because a lot of people who like bring something to humanity that's new, they expect to be the be-all end-all of that thing. But with the SFT tapping, there's no group to join. There's no grand poobah. There's nothing. It's not like you're feeding your energy to someone else. You're just getting your power back for yourself. So when you say we take back all the joy, love, and abundance that this person has taken from us, you actually are literally taking back your energy. And you're removing all the trauma. So you're actually being able to remove things that have actually been done to you. So imagine that a woman's been raped. And so someone has shoved their hatred or anger into them, right? So that's hard to get out of there. We're not equipped as energy beings to realize how to get rid of this hate. You know, all the therapy in the world is great, but it's slow. And with one tap, you can, or a series of taps, you can remove all the hate that the rapist has put in you. And so, like, these kind of things are actually my research of being abused and having a horrific life has actually been great research for everything in the book.
So how did you, because you mentioned that one first example there when you were going to do the massage, was that the beginning? Like, when did you realize that you had this sort of ability or that you could tap into the Akashic records? Was that from the time when you were abused?
No, no. What happened was when I was a waitress, there was a couple things. When I was younger, like I would go to the mall and I could look at someone and I could see them like a baby. I could see them as an old person. Or I could see an old person as a baby or a young person, and I could do it consciously. So I could look at them and just play with a different time for them on the timeline, their own Akashic records. But then when I was waitressing, this guy came in. He had this beard and a pipe, and he was a sea captain. And I just went to wait on him, and I go, "You look just like a sea captain." He goes, "That's really funny because I love the sea, but I'm afraid of it." So it was interesting. I just knew that he was out at sea and he died at sea. He got, drowned off of his own boat or something. So it's just, you listen to people too, and they kind of do know their own past lives, but they don't know enough to put it together. So the SFT Lexicon can help them put the pieces of their own life together. Because what's interesting is when you're doing a set of taps, and it'll be like 5 words, and then people can't say it. They can't spit it out. And it's like, I don't know why I'm not being able to say this. It's because the ego is trying to prevent them from saying it. And so the ones that they have trouble saying are the ones that are more relevant for them to say and release.
Okay. Did you, when you had that abuse happen to you, did you disassociate? Like, is this part of like how you connect to people's past lives or the Akashic records? Or
I never disassociate. I'm always present. Actually, the guy who abused me kind of reminded me of my mother. So, you know, as much of a sociopath he was, I have more nightmares about growing up with my family members than I don't have nightmares with him. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just part of the thing. It was tough thing. So when I was in utero, my mother was trying to figure out how to abort me the whole time, right? So here, and I had the experience of being in utero and this sweet little baby just trying to like form its body and just doing that. And all the time she was trying to figure out how to kill me. You know, she was like really drunk the whole pregnancy and she tried to pickle me out. She tried to abort me, tried to knock herself downstairs and everything. And what was beautiful about that is I never knew why I had to have such an abusive mother. She didn't like me. She cursed me on my birth. But what was beautiful is the resistance that I get in doing what I do is so incredible with, you know, with the environment that we're in. But that's what I gestated in, that kind of resentment and resistance. So when people resist me, I don't even notice it. It's just like being in the womb for me. So that was a beautiful epiphany that I had the perfect mother for the work that I do here. And it gave me the strength to speak my truth without like worrying about what other people think.
Do you find a lot of, I've heard a lot of that recently about people dealing with their trauma in the womb. And it's funny because I never would have thought that, but now that you mention it like that and knowing sort of more metaphysical things that we think are possible now, even in science, like that could be a real problem, right? If the intention of the mother is in that state all the time, I mean, how much that affects the baby.
Yeah, it would have been better if she could have just aborted me. That would have been great, but they were Catholic and I was the youngest of 10. She had nightmares about giving birth to me. So it would have been much better for me if I could have just like flushed out of this lifetime and landed somewhere else, but that didn't happen for me. There's a lot of, so the soul is listening when they're trying to come in and stuff. So it's like they can't be in the body because it's spiritual law that no two souls can operate space at the same time. So they're there like listening and like affecting cravings and stuff, but they're not like in the uterus. They're just hovering.
Right. So where do you want to go from here? Darren, do you have any questions before I switch gears again?
I'm afraid of Darren's questions. Oh no.
No, I'm curious about how much these affirmations help reprogram your subconscious. Like if I'm in a negative state of mind constantly, I'm trying to sort of switch that paradigm around. I feel like this is a good way. Like if you even just outside of the stuff that you're talking about, if I can start to train my mind to think positively and to start thinking this way, that's got to help the subconscious, right? And help my reflex to negativity change.
Absolutely. And you just have to do each set of tabs once. So a thing I use is like harsh vibratory words. Like for you, if you want to do that, we release our mind. Can we say
yeah, you can swear. Yeah.
We remove all mind fucks in our moments. And that's like a real good one because the vibration of that is like, it's almost like your words are like scalpels and they lob off all that stuff. And so another one you could do is we remove all blockages to being positive. But I don't know if it's really great to always be positive because you want to be balanced. You want to have your positive and the key is to get to a neutral state and not to keep fluctuating between positive and negative. So that's why a lot of like what we do is like our transcendence is getting above the positive and negative and getting into a pure state of neutrality. The problem with neutrality is the human psyche is so used to converting nothingness into negativity. And an example of that is a married couple who've been married forever and they adore each other. But after a while, that love doesn't strike anymore. They've gone into a neutrality. And then one of them will start like thinking like something's missing because they can't just enjoy that neutrality. They have to convert it into a negative just out of habit.
That's a great point. That's why people just can't sit still or how do we avoid conflict and war then using the law of attraction? I mean, you do have a lot of good stuff in your book about law of attraction and law of gravity and
well, actually, the reason why the law of attraction doesn't work is that it's not the only spiritual law. There's other spiritual laws. There's a law of reversed efforts.
I was going to ask you about that one too. Yeah.
So the more you try something, the more you're like you're putting a different charge on yourself that's going to actually repel and stuff. So that's why the taps work really good, because you can use them to attract what, like say you want a life partner. You can do the taps where we remove all blockages to finding our life partner. And so you can do the taps and then you can relax your energy. You're not going to like obsess over it so much and try to consciously do it. Because what the surface consciousness knows is not very much. So much of us is subconscious, like the physical is just the tip of the iceberg. So a lot of working on the psyche is like underneath the surface. And that's why the book is so great, because I've been doing private sessions, so many of them, that those are all the issues that someone would need to like help transcend. And for the war, we have another book, The Turning Point. So we have these people who will do the tabs for humanity. And, you know, you can actually prevent the war and stuff. Because what happens with war is that there's an intention there from someone, a nefarious person, and they actually harness other people's energy through suffering, if you'll notice. So when suffering happens, it's used by power mongers to generate their intention. So what I can do, because I'm good in energy, I mean, I'm not proud of much, but I know I can do this, is dissipate the psychic energy that they've stockpiled to use for their nefarious intentions. And I can just like rip open their stockpile of that like an oil tank, and all the energy dissipates from that, and it's returned to the individuals. Huh. So the beautiful thing about that is that because I'm so ethical in doing this, is that it's not like I'm keeping any of that energy for myself. It's like all going back to the individual. So all through time, anything that has been taken from you through your lifetimes by nefarious energies is being returned. And you kind of can see that playing out in the world, where more people are able to protest. There's more individuals speaking their mind. That's because of the work we're doing with the tapping, is enabling them to get their energy back, to be able to like have an individual presence and point of view.
Can you dig into a little bit more about the spiritual law of reversed efforts?
Yeah. So it's almost like say you want money.
Yeah.
So money is neither positive or negative. It doesn't have a charge. So when you want money and then you say, oh, I want money, you actually build up a positive charge for yourself. And you also, there's also a charge on money, like you want to attract it. So it's almost like two positives don't attract. So you're pushing it away with that intention. The better thing to do is to do the tabs in the book, where in past lifetimes, we were taught that money was the root of all evils, or that it was more pious to be poor than rich, or we've actually curses. Like someone who was rich, who had all the money, we would curse them and we would curse the rich. Now we don't want to be rich because in a past life we cursed the rich. So if we have money, we'll feel cursed. So there's tabs to remove curses, because all a curse is an intention that derails your own intention. So it doesn't have to be nefarious. It could be like a parent who won't let you go to art school because they want you to be a doctor. So they're kind of cursing your career. It's that simple. It's not nefarious. It's just derailing your intentions.
So it's kind of like what you resist persists kind of thing, or you're focusing so much on something that you're pushing it away instead of attracting it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why. So, and there's a steam behind that, because there's that want is behind there, that desire is behind there. So when you do the taps, it dissipates that steam or want or desire, and so it brings you to a more neutral state, so you can just allow the abundance to come to you.
Okay.
So when I've done the people in past lifetimes, we've taken vows, like vows of poverty, vows of chastity. If people aren't attracting wealth, lots of times in a past life they took the vow of poverty. So it's not like money staying away from them for no reason. They set that up, and it's up to them to release that vow. So when I've done that tap, where I discovered that tap, and I had people recant their vow of poverty, next day they said, "Oh, I just got this tax return that I didn't know about," or "I just got this estate money that I didn't know about." And it's just that simple, because if you're conscious, you're going to try to direct where the money comes from, and you couldn't possibly know where the universe can bring it to you. Yeah. So it's a form of like micromanaging the universe that doesn't work for you, because you don't have the whole picture in your physical makeup.
So can that be, do you think that's what's happening in some of these other sort of situations, you know, a lot of them psychedelic, or the ayahuasca treatments that they're doing down in South America, over on the West Coast of the USA, they're using psilocybin to treat depression and things like that, and they don't really know why it's working, but it seems to be working. And I mean, just what you're talking about there about the vow of poverty makes me wonder about my own sort of DMT experiences. And because I don't really know what happened in them, but there's definitely been some real directional changes since then, if I start looking at them in that sort of context. I mean, just in a financial standpoint, it was a pivot point.
In a positive way or negative?
Positive.
Positive, yeah.
I think all the pivots were positive, I think, from that, probably, right?
That's great. I don't know enough about the ayahuasca. I know people who do it and swear by it, and I know people who've had scary experiences and didn't come through really well. I know that, like I've worked with like people who have done mushrooms, and then it what it did was kind of melted a hole in their energy field. So then they always saw something to the side coming at them, and it was always scary and stuff. So what I had to do is go into their energy field and actually rebuild it for them. And I see that the human energy field is like this honeycomb, kind of it's got these weird ridges, and so then there's a hole. I can see where the holes are sometimes, and so I patch it up for them, and then they don't have the problems with the seeing the psychic things and stuff that happened when they took the mushrooms. But I don't have that much experience with the whole drug thing, because I wasn't allowed to partake in that, because probably my mind was, I'm so sensitive that I probably would have gone off kilter with it.
What about dealing with resentments in a big picture setting, especially now with what's happening in the world? Like, there's people getting divided left, right, and center in all these different ways. I mean, just and people have to sort of, try and not let all that stuff get to them. How do you let go of these resentments? Like, it might not be, I'm not resentful to a person or to something specific, but just to the division that's happening everywhere,
Right. So what's beautiful about that is you don't have to name the person. So we all have our opinions and thoughts of who and what, and they're different. It's a problem. So you can release all power mongers, or all those who are trying to manipulate. So you can do it more vaguely, and you can do it for humanity. And that way you don't have to name who the person is, because you could be wrong. I mean, some people have to be wrong because they're on different sides. But what also helps is understanding what's happening with being pitted against each other. So in earlier days, the whole secrecy around space travel and space beings was almost like used for the government as a way to keep us entrenched in fear. Because in the past, they thought that once we got to know everyone on the planet, we wouldn't be such bad enemies like with anyone on the planet. If that happened, there always needs to be a common enemy. And so they wanted us to be afraid of space people because that would be a common enemy that we could all. But the problem is we're not. We have so many experiences and memories of being space people ourselves. We're not afraid of space people.
Uh-oh.
It's just family. It's like, welcome home, come visit. And so that didn't work and stuff. So now the only thing they have to try to control us, and I don't know who they is, it's just energies or whatever, is pitting us against each other. So it's a manipulation game. And if you realize that whatever you're being told, the other side is being told as well, to pit you guys against each other, then you're going to drop out. You're not going to play that game. So you can do the tabs on whoever's trying to pit you against others instead of actually going for the other side, because they're like dumb bastards too,
Yeah. What about the checklist for chronic pain? I mean, so many people have chronic issues now, chronic pain.
It's past life deaths. So if you have pains in your neck, it's one of 4 issues: being hung, being choked, being decapitated, or being having your larynx crushed. And so if you assume that and stuff, do the tabs on being hung, being decapitated and stuff, and you can know if you've been executed, if you the type of person who doesn't want to be seen in a crowd. The reason you don't want to be seen in a crowd is because that public execution is horrific, and it's so personal to die. And once you're setting up there to die and people are watching you, that causes an engram on you. But yeah, pain easily goes away with these things once you remove.
What about chronic? What about not pain that just like in the neck or back or one spot? But what about the fibromyalgia type stuff where it feels like it travels all over?
Yeah, that's what that woman had who got raped, was fibromyalgia. That's what she's dealing with. So, okay, you want to get into the freaky parts?
Sure.
So when I was locked up, I was tapped into that guy's pathologies and stuff.
So you were locked up like as a prisoner?
Yeah, well, I was kept in the basement and stuff. Actually, yeah, I mean, at first I was just his roommate, and then gradually I got Stockholm syndrome, so I was actually trying to help him kill myself, like trying to destroy my soul. Not just kill the body, because I was trying to destroy the soul. That's what he was trying to do and everything. But I was working, I became more conscious of the spirit guides trying to keep me alive, and nature, because I was sensory deprived through that experience. But all it did was heighten my senses of healing.
Yeah.
Communicating with trees and animals. And it's like, I wouldn't trade this for the world. It's just so beautiful. So it was worth the training I had to go through. But yeah, so I had the conscious experience of being, I don't know, I don't think it was a physical experience, but it was on some kind of level of being converted and taken my humanity and turned into a cyborg body. So I had this artificial body, and I had the heart, the lungs, the brain maybe, but it was like all synthetic. And I was experiencing that from the inside.
Whoa.
And so what really occurred to me is people who have like fibromyalgia, the reason some of them because they've been the hardest people for me to help, because they're so attached to their pain.
Yeah.
Because in that experience of being that cyborg, I would have done anything to feel pain, because pain is associated with humanity. So maybe some people in that experience are using the pain to stay connected to their humanity.
Wow.
And that's not something you would get like just from research and medical dictionaries or stuff. That's something you really have to experience to get that level of compassion for that kind of thing. So then there's one of my protocols in the book and on my website, genuinehealing.com. and it's called the peanut butter and jelly cleanse. Now, if peanut butter wanted to be divorced from jelly, this is the set of taps they would do. And so what it is a bunch of sentences, and you put one thing in the first sentence and one thing in the second sentence, and you do all those taps, right? So for people with fibromyalgia, they would do their humanity in the first blank. They would put their humanity and then put pain in the second thing. So you disconnect pain from your humanity, so you can really, that's a real core issue for people. So that would be a profound way to release something like that.
Yeah, and you also talk about giving people advice not to put their pain on social media all the time, right? To identify with that.
Yeah, because I'm really careful of that too when I do workshops and such. People who work with me, I train them and stuff, because if you need to keep a distance, I can release anybody's stuff. I just do it all the time. People message me, can you release this? Sure. Can you blast out the COVID vaccine so it's pure? Yeah, I'm blasting out the vaccine for everyone all the time so they'll get their vaccine and it won't poison them or in their minds or whatever, so they're not cursed by their own assistants. So I'm sure, just email me, message me, I'll blast out your and I hope I do that for them before they go and get their shots, so they'll make themselves safe. But so what happens is our nervous systems weren't meant to handle all that, and what people are actually doing is actually vomiting their issues, and it's no different than your energy is like your home. It's no different than letting your neighbors come over and dump all the garbage in your trash receptacles, and they're getting filled up and emptying and cluttering up your yard and stuff. Whatever someone has contained, the good way to use the book is once you start using the tapping and the book, you can stop people from dumping on you by saying, hey, do the taps on this issue. And if they don't, that means they don't want to get better. They just want to dump on you. But then you have a choice. Say, no, if you don't want to do the taps, that means that you're only using me and you don't really want to get better because this works. And so I just give them the taps, and that's a way to keep them from dumping on you.
Yeah.
But people really have to be educated on what they're doing. Like another thing they do on social media is someone who's in the hospital dealing with their worst issues. Oh, here's grandma. She just had an open heart surgery. Isn't she lovely? No, grandma doesn't want her picture taken because that's almost like locking her in the engram of those issues. Put up a picture of grandma when she's young and healthy and vibrant, and stop locking her in that image of disease. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. When did you realize that you thought you were the reincarnation of Helena Blavatsky?
I was told I was her much younger, and it was right before I met the guy who. When I met the guy who.
Really? Right, yeah. When you met him?
Right before that and stuff. I saw it in a book, and it was like, for some reason I go, and she does look like my family. She looks like my sister and my niece, and her eyeballs and stuff. My mother used to always say I have horse ball eyes and stuff. And so I didn't want to believe that I looked like her. And I don't think I did back then. So I didn't want to believe it, right? So then I had a lot of evidence of it after that. Like when I was in the property, like I was like, why are they doing this to me? Why are they trying to destroy me and stuff? And the adepts were basically, they told me, they kept me doing that because I went through enlightenment on the property during all that trauma and everything. And they told me that I would be world renowned. And at the time, I was just a massage therapist with some insights, but I wasn't like doing it. I wasn't writing. I didn't have all this healing, whatever. And so they just told me that, I had to go through this. And so when I got back, I held her book up next to my picture. And my cousin, just his mouth dropped, and it's like, I look exactly like her. And it was like, and so what's interesting about her is her first book was published in my hometown. And in her book,
which one was that? Isis Unveiled, or?
I think so, because in the first edition of Isis Unveiled, she talked about Rochester, which is my hometown, Rochester, New York. being a focal point of this higher energies pouring into the physical world. And that's basically what I do with these tap-ins, is I'm allowing that to come in. And she talked about rapping, which is like tapping, but she called it rapping. And then just other interesting things. People see it in her, in my writings is similar, and my personality and stuff. And I get a sense of her and stuff. But also she saw Lemuria being in Australia, and there's breadcrumbs of her like thinking of Lemuria as really special in Australia. And so I'm working to moving towards Australia with my fiance there. And someone channeled this crying and talked about Lemuria too. And it was like a second Lemuria. And it's like, you know, I don't pay attention to anybody's stuff because I got my own stuff coming out. But I just heard that because it's like what we're doing in Australia is bringing higher consciousness there, like a spiritual city like Shambhala, you know?
Yeah.
It's something like that it's that profound for the planet. Just a focal point of healing and higher consciousness. So.
Wow. I mean, because Blavatsky was also warning just normal people not to play around with this spiritual stuff. I mean, she was pretty careful about that, you know?
Not careful enough, because Hitler used it. So what she was trying to do is she was trying to balance out the male and female energy. She was trying to empower female energy with those sensitivities, but it got bastardized, and she developed theosophy. But then, you know, when you have a focal point, like a leader of a thing, and they're ousted out of it, she was the heart of theosophy, and they ousted her, so it became a mental thing. It couldn't no longer take them to the higher realms beyond the duality, because she was gone, and she was the focal point of that. But the beautiful thing about that is that's why I'm so pure. Well, you know, I don't mean it like that, but I'm so clear in not wanting to do a group consciousness now and not doing that again, because I had that experience back then. I'm hell bent on not creating a group consciousness where they can the ego can derail it and turn it into a power thing.
Yeah.
And some of the work that I'm doing now is like cleaning up what she put out there. Like Hitler used her techniques and her readings and works to understand power and everything. So a lot of the work I do in energy is dissolving the engrams of the World War II, and dissipating the psychic energy of
the trauma.
The what?
The trauma.
Yeah, the trauma, and a lot of Holocaust survivors, and a lot of people in the camps. So.
Yeah. Can you dig into that a little bit? How did he use her philosophy?
So there's other ones too that were prevented, but he understood energy. Like he knew when he was doing the High Hitler, he was actually directing them. He knew that each human was an energy being. So when they were forced to do High Hitler, they were actually feeding their individual energy into him. So, and there's been others who've tried to do that. So what I do is like, there's no time and space. So I go into that stockpile of psychic energy that was used for power, dissipated, and give it back to all the individuals. And that's why how all of humanity heals is kind of that kind of thing. See, I don't think that we're waiting for these space people to save us. I think that we're doing it for ourselves, and this kind of awareness of what I do is a huge part of it, is teaching the individuals to not give their power to someone else. Like when people pray, they put their hands like this. They're sending their energy up to the sky. When they're praying to the sky, they're sending their energy up there. Where's it going? It would be much better to become a gardener and this is kind of what Jesus was trying to teach, is become a gardener and put the energy into the ground and keep it here for the earth. So, and like even the churches that have the steeple on them, all the energy is like a divining rod sending it up and out away from earth. So someone has to go back and pull out all the energy back to earth. And that's part of the energy work I do on a grand scale for humanity.
And how did the adepts fit into all that? Because, I mean, she did talk a lot about the adepts, too. I mean, she was like, you know, unless you're an adept, you shouldn't be playing around with this stuff. But you're connected to them, right?
Well, yeah. So there's been, like, spiritual groups who try to, like, harness the adepts and use them for their group. And the adepts, but they're badasses, but they also are, like, they're like, they were human. They are humans. They still have a physical form. So they'll say, we're not mascots for any power group. So part of my goal is to reintroduce the adepts to humanity, and they can work with the adepts one-on-one without them having to be
representing a group
associated with a group and given that, because power is not gonna win out. It's time for humanity to transcend. So the adepts have been working lifetimes onto this. And so basically what they've done is kept me alive. And since Hitler was, there's been other people who've come to Earth and they were like rogue. And so there's been spiritual groups that have come and they've like collected all these people who were spiritually savvy, right? And it was almost like giving them an accountability so they didn't go rogue and become power mongers and start their own world war, whatever. So the adepts have been handling all of that. So the adepts were basically dealing with that whole group that had a lot of people who were savvy enough to, even the leader was savvy enough to be another rogue like Hitler.
I think it's slipping out of control. I think it's slipping through their fingers.
No. It feels like it, but it's not. Trust me. It has to before it gets more unified and more peaceful. The last thing is like the chaos, and so on the survival scale, you have anger, apathy, grief, lust, fear, anger, peace. So what's happening here with the COVID and politics is everybody's being shaken out of their apathy and their fear, and they're going to anger, and that's the last rung before peace. So it's natural in the evolution of humanity for that to happen.
That's fascinating.
Thank you.
Are you going to be at peace right away, Graham?
I don't know.
I've been at peace for like 8 months. It's better over here. You should come on over.
Oh yeah, I'm peaceful. Yeah.
You get a little worked
you guys
up,
seem peaceful.
You get a little worked up from time to time.
So are these I mean, reincarnating, you have a note in your book there that mastership is collecting all your energy from reincarnation or reincarnating in your experiences into the present moment.
Yeah, so think about it. So think about like the belief that time and space are like all happening at once. Like your past and your future are happening all at once, right? So you have all these experiences, and this is very interesting. People who have low thyroids, it's because in past lifetimes they're stuck in the engram or the experience of running for their life or fighting off the murderer. And so that engram is tiring out their physical body here. So what you do is you dissipate those engrams in that past thing. You take all the energy from these different peripheral lifetimes, pull it all into the moment. Because all an adept is someone who doesn't have these peripheral lifetimes, and they've got all their energy into the moment. So it's a fast track to gaining your spirituality.
Oh, okay.
You don't get it there by giving your power to some other dude and saying, "No, dude, I love you. You're great, and don't punish me." That's a form of enslavement. So. We all do this as individuals.
Are people like Hitler, like, is he reincarnated anywhere that you know of? Or is he like, is that energy, have you ever thought about that? Is that energy ever?
I actually did a session on someone that felt like if it wasn't him, it was someone from the Third Reich like that. So I
Wow.
have, because the energy work I do is so deep and profound, I get to meet some of these individuals like up close and like, and so this person was like a real hard case, and I'm like ruthless on some people like that, because you're trying to rip that layer off them, and they think they're good and they think they're wonderful, so you try to strip that layer off of them and let them feel their own vulnerabilities, because I live in this vulnerable state. I mean, I'm like a soft shell crab all the time, and that's a state of like, that vulnerability is not something to be afraid of. It's something to be embraced. So people need to get used to that vulnerability and being okay with that.
Wow.
So yeah, I've met some of them.
Huh. Darren, you got any questions before we wrap it up?
No, this has been fun. I mean, I haven't read the book yet, but I'm interested in to get into some tapping. I mean, I like the rapping idea too.
You're funny. So I have a question for Darren though.
Uh-oh.
What happened 8 months ago? What shifted you 8 months ago?
I don't know. Why did we say 8 months ago?
Because you said you've been peaceful for about 8 months. So
that's when I stopped caring about COVID.
Oh, absolutely. COVID's doing its thing and stuff, and it's like, so do you need to wrap it up, or can I say something?
No, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so I have all these different clients come to me with all these weird things. One woman came to me because her children had lead poisoning in their body, right? And so I did a session on them, and in a past lifetime, she's the grandmother now, and they were running from her. And in a past lifetime, she was a slumlord, and she kicked them out, and they died in that lifetime. So she had like that with them and stuff, and she felt so bad that they had they couldn't move out and stuff, and they were renting from them, but her pipes were giving them lead poisoning. So I told her all this, and I gave her tons of taps to do for her grandchildren. She came back within a couple weeks, and she said the kids got tested again for lead, and their levels are in normal range now. So that was me getting to see what I'm capable of doing. So I've kind of streamlined that to be able to like blast out. The adepts will tell you, you can like clean anything with pure love. And because I do this so constantly, I've ascribed it to my parasympathetic nervous system. So what looks like faith healing to other people is just me doing it over and over repetitively, pulling out the stagnant energy years and years and years. So it looks like it's just faith healing, but it's not. I'm actually doing the work. So I'll blast out the vaccines. I'll blast them out. And so when people have like this fear of it and the viruses and stuff, sure, there could be these nefarious intentions, but those are only portals into different dimensions and stuff. Those can be shut down as well. So someone like myself who knows how to do that work is able to shut down those portals to those nefarious kind of, having the experience of being a cyborg, but I don't want to see artificial intelligence taking over Earth. So of course I'm going to close all the portals to that experience, and that's part of what my experiences have done. So part of the work I do is cleanse that thing and keep Earth innocent as much as possible. Because when I was on the property and I'm feeling all of his freakazoid, all that stuff, all these different species and stuff, it was terrifying. It was like maddening. And then I'm sitting on the hill, and it's like, Earth is so peaceful and innocent. They're so naive. Why would you want to mess with that? Why do you want them to know about all the awful stuff happening in the universe? Let them stay peaceful and naive and just protect them as much as possible. So that was part of my training now with the whole COVID and everybody being aware of what's possible. Those nefarious energies can be shut down. They are being shut down. And I close portals to all those different alternative realities, those scary ones. So if people could only realize that I can't be the only ones, but I'm working all the time I'm doing this for humanity and shutting that down. So it is safe. It is safe because yeah, I'm working on it and stuff. As a matter of fact, like 30 years ago, I got Bell's palsy, and I never ever got over it. It's just part of right here. I'm trying to get my face back, but it was my eyes couldn't shut. I couldn't sleep because of the Bell's palsy. So when I heard about the COVID and the new vaccines, Darren, one of the side effects of one of them was Bell's palsy, and then instantly I knew that Bell's palsy that I got was doing the energy work I'm doing now to purify the vaccines. I took one for the team, and that Bell's palsy back then was me releasing it from being in the vaccinations, that and other things, so that humanity could be clean and stay in the innocence.
Well,
and get through this.
we appreciate you doing that for us. Where can our listeners get the book or track you down? Are you on social media? Do you have a website, anything like that? If the listeners want to get some more, and I mean, some of them check the show notes, but lots of them will just listen. So it's good to say it as well.
That's okay. It's nice, even if they're hearing this. It's shifting the collective.
Yeah.
You feel the collective shifting all the time. Doesn't it seem a little bit faster in the last 4 years?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I've been working on this. In the middle of the night, the spirit guides got up, and when our politics broke open like batshit crazy, the adepts had me wake up just before that happened, and they said, get up and do all these new taps. And it was dissipating the psychic streams of energy, of war, of hate, of power, of all these things. There were hours, and there was like hours of them, and I put those out on social media, and then I passed out, and I slept for hours and hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. And so you know how people like get caught up, they get caught, like who are doing bad things, they get caught. That's because they can't get away with things anymore, and that's why they get angry, because we've actually changed the trajectory of Earth. They had another trajectory of mass enslavement in mind, and we effed up their trajectory. So the things that have happened, like that coup that happened, I knew about that 4 years ago. That there's things I've just been sitting on, so I've been like doing the taps beforehand, just so it didn't go off as planned and stuff, that kind of thing.
So what when you had your cyborg experience, was that a different timeline, or was that a future self, or how like what would that, or was it a vision?
It was the actual experience. I don't know how to describe it, because it was like a dream, but not a dream. It was like a vivid dream, and
like, do you think that was a future timeline of humanity, or a possibility, or no?
No, I know it's not now, because I know I was given that, so it's not that. No, it was definitely a different. It wasn't Earth. I was taken off of Earth, but it wasn't. No,
maybe,
and it was in the past, because it was like in the 50s or something of the timeline of me and the guy who locked me up. So it wasn't the future. It would have been the past if it was physical. But I don't think it was even physical, but it was just teaching me, making me aware of all this stuff so I could do healing of humanity that I do.
Yeah, maybe.
So what's really I think what's really cool is, for one thing, I was never loved as a person in this lifetime. Nobody's ever loved me. My mother hated me, cursed me at birth. And the fact that I have this capacity to love is one of the miracles in life, that I didn't turn into a psychopath. And then all the stuff that's happened to me, dealing with this stuff, that I have some mental capacity. I mean, I'm not saying like whatever, but I can function. So it's not like it didn't take me off the rails or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm able to articulate and help others. And to me, that's a miracle, because if people knew what actually, went on in this life, I mean, they have their own issues, but it's a miracle that I'm sitting there chatting with you, and that I still help other people with private sessions and stuff.
Yeah, you broke the cycle. I mean, you broke many cycles. I mean, you broke your family cycle. That one, you broke the Stockholm syndrome cycle. I mean, you've made it through a lot of stuff. And I mean, maybe that vision, that cyborg vision, was strictly for the chronic healing type thing. I mean, if that's what gave you that epiphany about the chronic healing, I mean, that's going to be the number one. Seems to me like it's the number one thing out there for quantity of things that people have to deal with. I mean, there's all this chronic healing, this phantom pain going all over the place all the time.
Oh.
Not phantom as in not there, just because they can't. It goes all over.
Because so what happens is it's in their other bodies. It's in their etheric body or their astral body. So we have bodies of finer vibratory rate at the same time, and so the pain is in their past lifetimes. I can tell what an issue is like if someone has carpal tunnel, they don't want to go to work. What it is they're still holding that sword. They're still fighting. So if people have this frozen shoulder and all that stuff, they're still holding their sword and shield. And if it's in the left arm, they're like still defending themselves.
That's what I thought my past life. I've got a problem with my elbow, and I thought it was from holding a shield in the like 1100s.
Can I? So you want to tap for that really quick?
Sure.
It's really fun.
Sure.
We lay down our sword and shield in all moments.
Okay. Cool.
So you can do that if you want.
I'll do that. Yeah.
So to find me is on genuinehealing.com with a J. And I'm still doing private sessions, which is amazing because and a lot of people allow me to put my sessions up on YouTube. So you can go watch past sessions because a lot of people actually do want to help humanity, right? So they let me put their sessions as vulnerable as they are up on YouTube, so anybody can watch those and do the taps along with them. And that's on Jenuine Healing on YouTube. And I also have this cute little Jen and her jammies is my fiance Marvin, who's like a genius in business, and he's transforming business the way I transform the individual. So it's really profound that we connected, and he's actually on the opposite side of the world. If you dug down in my ground and dug all through the earth, you would actually have been able to get to Marvin's house right from so we were actually polar opposites, and we are opposites. So it's really humorous because I come across as this goofball, like I love all life, trees and stuff, and he's very serious, and he's trying to control the session and make it all timed, and he just can't. He doesn't know whatever I'm going to say and stuff. So it's just really amusing. It's a nice, light way to get people to understand metaphysical things without it being too heavy.
Nice. Right on. Well, thanks, Jen. This has been fun.
Thank you very much. You guys have been very gracious. I appreciate you both.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put all your stuff in the show notes as well, so people can just click on that to get to your website and your books. And you've written like, what, 19 books or something like that? I mean,
yes.
That's crazy.
Now, the SFT Lexicon you can get on my website.
Yeah.
It was on Amazon, but we're pulling all the books off Amazon because they don't revere the writer and everything. So we're working to like get those off. So so you can get this one on my website, genuinehealing.com, as they get edited. You know, I got them up there as fast as I could, 19 books in like 4 years, because the adepts wanted me to get that truth out there because it was necessary. But now it's necessary to clean up all the books and like make them more polished to hold up to time and everything. So they're good. They work. The tabs work, but they just need a little bit of refining.
Yeah. And then you're going to get off Amazon and put it on your own website? You're going to sell it all from your own website, or?
Yeah, something like that.
Right
we
on.
Want to encourage other people to do that as well, because, you know, you got to like stop feeding power mongers in any way that you can, you know?
Right on. Good advice. Thanks, Jen.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you
Have
later.
a wonderful night. Thanks for coming on the show.
You too. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And that was our chat with Jen Ward. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah.
You gonna do some tapping?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I've been thinking about. I think Maria's tried that before we went, and I think it helped her.
Someone in the
At the
chat said
time.
you should be a drummer, and maybe that would solve your drum problem.
I don't.
Maybe it's your
I
inner
can't-
child just
I
screaming
can't
to
be a
be a
drummer. I
drummer.
can't. I
Well,
can't.
this
I'm
is
not.
it. This
Music
is the
is just
problem.
not the thing.
Maybe
no.
this is it, your thing.
No,
This is
I
your
can't
whole
be a drummer.
hang up is all manifesting itself at an Elton
No,
John
I
concert.
can't do it. I can't. It's too much work to keep the rhythm and all.
Elton
I mean,
was
it's
trying to get it
impossible.
out of you.
No.
You're keeping rhythm right now.
What about you? Yeah, I am too. Yeah.
I can play
Just
the
shake it,
drums.
Yeah.
Am I gonna tap?
I'd like to get that book for the studio. Actually, just order a hard. I should get a hard copy in here. I've got the digital one, but or maybe we do have it. Maybe we already have it. Yeah, I'll have to check. Might have had it shipped here already.
I haven't seen it. I don't think, but
It's good. It's got everything. It's got references to everything. You know, I mean, there's 500 pages in alphabetical order of all the stuff you need to know about from the spiritual freedom technique.
Well, there you go. Get yourself a hard copy. Maybe you could do the audiobook.
No,
No?
no.
You already tried?
There's about 1 million affirmations in there. It would get
wouldn't
get
do it?
pretty. No,
You just affirm some weird stuff to you. You'd be accidentally affirming stuff while you're narrating the
Yeah.
book. You're growing tails. and
it's heal the
ears and
world.
Stuff. Yeah. Boobs are getting bigger. Big thanks to Jen for coming on the show. Big thanks to you guys for listening. Even bigger thanks if you're one of the 1% that choose to support the work over at gramerica.ca/support with a monthly subscription or a one-time donations once in a while, or maybe you're signed up for Gramerica Outlawed over at gramericaoutlawed.ca or something else. You can always head over to Adult Brain, grab yourself an audiobook.
Even
You
the
got
free
tons of
outlawed,
audiobooks.
even the free outlawed would really help with the
It all helps.
algorithms, right?
Yeah, review it, share it around, tell your friends about this, the show, the work, everything we're trying to do over here. You can have a contact at thecabin.com if you want to get on a tour and meet everybody, meet Randall Carlson. We're raffling off a spot right now.
Yeah. Do you think this will come out after the raffle or
This doesn't come out to the end of the month. Or the raffle's not till the 31st.
31st? Okay, so this will come out before that. Yeah. So the raffle. How do they do the raffle?
You just got to
Email Darren.
PayPal.
PayPal.
Send PayPal $25 a ticket or 3 for $50 US to contact at thecabin@gmail.com is the PayPal address you want to send it to. If you're having a problem with that, if you don't have PayPal, you can email me and we'll figure something out. But you do that and put your email address in the notes. August 31st, we're going to draw that. It's a $2,592 ticket. Plus 5% taxes and shit. So that means
Wow.
$2,700 value being raffled off. Maybe yours for $25 or 3 for $50. Buy as many tickets as you like. The draw will be on the 31st. Of course, the trip is September 20th to 26th of next month. Coming up quick. So if you want to get in on that Randall Carlson tour, Brandon Powell will be there. The Snake Brothers.
Brad Young.
Brad Young will be there. Ben from Uncharted X will be there. Brandon Powell teaching us all the Wim Hof method. And, of course, the one and only Randall Carlson. gramerica.ca/support. We love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the live show, guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll be back at some point. No, not tomorrow now. Won't be till next week. We're cutting down the live streams a little bit, but yeah, check it out. Graham will overcome his sensitivity to drums by becoming the drum and the drummer.
Affirmations don't do much unless you believe them. Exactly.
Get your younger Dryas on. All right, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for tuning in.